Simplified Chaos, episode 147.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? I think I just realized we're inching close to episode 150.
Dynamite.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope you all are having a great week. We're excited to be here with you today. We've got another great episode. Jilly, what are we going to dive into today?
Simplifying vacations or travel plans.
Yes, we have the travel itch and we're getting ready to do some traveling. In fact, we're actually recording 2 episodes tonight. One that we're going to release this Thursday and one the following Thursday because we're going to be traveling in out of the area. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and get into more about traveling. But Jilly, as always, we love to show a little gratitude. So what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for lady getaways.
Lady getaways.
Yeah, especially when I don't have to travel that far.
You did not have to get away very far. You got away about 25 minutes up the road.
I know, and it still felt so freeing and cup filling. One of my friends' husband booked an Airbnb getaway for his wife for her birthday, and I was so honored to be invited. And so the Airbnb was all paid for, and it was about 25 minutes from my house. So it was in right outside of downtown Charlottesville, and my sister was there, some other friends I went to high school with, and 2 new friends that I've never met before. And it was so cup filling. I mean, I haven't laughed so hard in a long time. Like,
what, I'm not funny?
It was like pee your pants laughing.
Oh man, I gotta step my game up.
It was like the giddiness laugh too, because we stayed up till 1 a.m. both nights. So after a certain time, I just start laughing at everything.
Were you laugh crying?
Yes.
At that point? Oh gosh.
A little bit. It was just so awesome just to chill and hang out and kind of be like the host of guiding them where to go. Like, I got to show them my favorite wineries, cideries, restaurants, and show them like the downtown walking mall and like introduce the fresh croissants at Marie Bet. And it was so cool to literally be driving. I was figuratively driving and literally be driving everyone and my favorite spots just to share them with all the ladies. And it was just truly epic. And, thanks for you, like, holding the fork down with Lucille.
No problem. I mean, you have pretty shitty taste in spots, so I can't imagine it was that fun this weekend.
Yeah, sourdough donuts are the worst,
yeah.
Man. They're the worst. But yeah, that's from me. And what about you?
So mine was, it's kind of the opposite because I had the weekend with Lucille, so I'm grateful for having that time with her just to spend it one-on-one. But more importantly, I'm grateful for, we do this tradition every couple of weeks where we'll go to the dump and then we usually get a donut afterwards, and depending on where we go. So if Jill comes with us to the dump, then we'll go get a donut at Bell and get one of the sourdough donuts that she was talking about. But because Jill or Mama wasn't with us, like, Bell is a family thing according to Lucille, and Dunkin' Donuts is a thing that she does with Papa. So I kept on asking her, I was like, you sure you don't want to go? I'm partial to Bell because their donuts are delicious.
Wait,
but
you asked her if she wanted to go to Bell?
I did. And she said, I want to go to Dunkin' Donuts because Bell's a family thing. Like, that's really what she
said?
Yeah.
Damn, that girl's amazing.
She's crazy. Oh. So I was like, this is your last chance as we're pulling up to Dunkin' Donuts. So we pull into the parking lot, and this is usually later than we normally go. Like, we were pulling in the parking lot about 11:15, 11:30. And I noticed not a lot of people in the drive-thru, and I was like, I'm sure everybody was here earlier. And then there wasn't a lot of cars parked in the parking lot either. So we start making our way up to the door, and I noticed the chairs on top of the tables there, but I saw like another family in there. And so I pulled on the door, and it was locked, and the manager was there. And she unlocked the door, and she's like, we're short staffed today, but did she want to come in and just see the donuts and pick one out? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm glad we did that. I would have like, you know what, I'll just go in the drive-through, but we were out of the car, and if you know about taking a kid out of a car seat, like you don't want to have to immediately put them back in it. So I was like, let's just go inside. We'll order our donuts and then we'll take them home and eat it. So she usually gets one with pink frosting, and unfortunately they didn't have any pink frosting donuts that morning. They might have already sold out, but I'm glad I took her in there so that I wasn't scrambling in the drive-thru thing, and having to go over every kind of donut they had. So there was ones in the shape of a heart, and so of course she got that with chocolate frosting, and we grabbed that and took it home. And it was just really nice that they were, even though they were short staffed, that they allowed us to come in and have her do her thing and pick out the donut. It seemed like she really knew how special it was for like a kid to go in there and pick out their donut. So very grateful for the just the hospitality that they showed. They didn't have to do that. It's tough right now, in the service industry, because they are short staff. But the fact that they still saw that it would just make the day of our daughter, I was like, this is awesome. So shout out to you, Duncan.
Duncan dumping donuts.
Dumping donuts.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know you gave her the option.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was trying to sway her to go to Bell because I wanted a donut.
She's pretty geographically smart too. She's probably like, it's a lot closer to go to Dunkin' than it is to drive all the way to
Probably, probably. But yeah, no, she gave solid arguments as to why she wanted to go to Dunkin' Donuts. So unfortunately, I was not partaking in the donuts that morning. So
all right,
yeah,
good stuff.
Sorry, that was a long gratitude, but it was it made my weekend. So yeah. All right, so travel plans. We got a lot of them this year.
Yes, and
we got some time to make up.
One of the things we value strongly is travel and new experiences, and we had quite the dilemma, and I'm sure maybe other people can relate, and it may not be related to travel, it could be in other categories, but for us it was travel. It was like we had all of these places on our bucket list that we were like, we would really like to see that. We'd like to go there. We want to do that. And we knew like financially and our calendar was filling up. We're like, all right, we need to be strategic. We need to figure out where are we going to go. We need to like decide what goes and what we'll put off for another year. And it was quite difficult to like, well, we want to go to Maine. We've never been to Maine. We could drive there. It might take longer if we do a road trip there. And we also want to go to this place and visit people. And we started just talking about all the places we wanted to go. And the places that really stood out the most, I think, emotionally for us is the places that had people there that we wanted to see and visit and connect with. So Nick and I, it was kind of quick. We both looked at each other and we're like, this year's going to be all about connection. It's all about, we're going to plan all of our travel to just going to places where we know where people live and connecting with them face to face. Because as we know, the past year and a half, 2 years, I guess now, has been quite disconnecting. And it feels good just thinking about going to places and like giving real hugs and like, and just seeing people that we haven't seen in a while because they live in other states.
Right.
So we decided that we were going to have a theme, and it made travel planning so much easier. Like after we decided that this year is going to be about connection, it kind of helped us let go of all the places where we're like are on our bucket list, but there was nobody there that we wanted to connect with personally. So we're like, all right, this year we're only going to visit places where we know where people live, or we're meeting somebody that we love and care for and connect with them in real life. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that was a great summary, and that theme came together very nicely because you're right. We were talking about Maine, we were talking about some other spots, and of course there's some spots that we hit up every year, which I think we'll continue to try to find ways to build that in. One of the cool things about this year is that we do plan on doing a lot of traveling, and with me still, working and having limited amount of PTO, we're finding ways to make it work and really taking advantage of the opportunity that remote work has available. So we'll dive into that a little bit further. But yeah, I mean, really when it came down to it, it was like, there's so many people that we haven't seen in such a long time. And obviously the last 2.5 years have really made us, think about those things that were taken away from us, things that we possibly took for granted. And we're like, okay, well, let's go ahead and make these connections. And we're still not even done planning for this year. Like, I think there's still a couple of other trips that we have under our belt that we're still waiting to pull the trigger on, and they're probably going to be towards the latter half of the year. So we'll start looking at flights and all that stuff once we kind of finish this first leg of the year, and seeing if we can get some flights cheaper. They tend to be a little bit more expensive the further out they are.
Which is interesting because I feel like it was so the opposite way back in the day when I was like booking flights. It was like the earlier you book it, the cheaper the flights were.
But we are, so to give an example, we're heading to Arizona on Thursday this week. So the day that this podcast is being released, we are heading to the airport and heading out to Arizona to see your dad.
Yep.
And, this is something that we wanted to do in 2020. We actually had bought our plane ticket to go out there over Thanksgiving in 2020. And we canceled the trip. I wouldn't say last minute, but about a month out in advance. And I think there was just some things going on at that point, and I think there was a spike that was happening kind of in cases. So we were like, okay, we can put this off. But we kind of pulled this together in January, and because we were traveling in February, the ticket prices to Tucson were actually much more reasonable than I anticipated. So like, it was actually good just booking a month out rather than several months in advance.
Which is kind of a positive thing, because I feel like during the pandemic, we had all these places we wanted to go, and then we had to cancel, and we lost money because we didn't use up the money in time. So I kind of like the idea of doing like this, like batch booking. Like, we just do like, within the 3 months, we're deciding on where we want to go within those 3 months. And then we're looking at flights and kind of like waiting for the right time. So it's kind of cool that we decided on a theme or a focus for traveling, because that helped us narrow down the places we want to go, and then kind of decide, all right, when we're in that 3-month time span of when we think we might go there, let's start looking at flights and Airbnbs and like get that all in the books. And it kind of takes the stress on like what might happen in 7 months, like
right.
When you book that far in advance, there's so many what ifs, especially like having a kid, and like other people are involved in families, and the pandemic there's so many things that can happen. So it's nice kind of doing it, I wouldn't say last minute, but with enough time to like not stress about booking an Airbnb and flights. So it's kind of spontaneous, but it's like planned spontaneity. I don't know if that's a thing. That makes any sense?
Yeah, no, it's travel with a purpose. It's travel planning with a purpose.
Yeah, travel with intention. And it's not, I'm surprised it took us this long to like decide to like find a theme or focus with travel, because I feel like there's so many ways we use themes to simplify our life. Like with me, with designated meal nights, like I pick a theme for each night, and that helps narrow down the choices. Like if it's fiesta night, it's like, all right, it's going to either be nachos or tacos or enchiladas. Like it narrows down the window of like choices to make. So there's not so much decision fatigue. And then when you think about like our home, like the theme, I wouldn't say the focus I was going for our home was like hygge, cozy,
right.
Kid directed by Lucille. I wanted her art in here. And I just wanted things to be really meaningful, but open and inviting. And creating a theme or a focus for a lot of things in life just really helps streamline the decision-making process and create so much more, ease in life.
Yeah. No, 100%. And really, I think the only stress when you have a theme like ours, where it's like connect, it's like, there's so many people we want to go visit. Like, how do we encompass that in all, throughout the year? But one of the things that also is really fun is that we're having a lot of people come to us too, there's just a lot of connection that's happening whether we're traveling or not. We have people coming down to Charlottesville to check out our new area and see why we fell in love with this place. But at the same time, it's just like, there's so many places we want to go. We can go to Copenhagen to see my buddy out there. We have some friends out on the West Coast that we would love to see. So like, when it all came down to it, it was like, family was kind of first. I've never been out to see your dad in Arizona, so I'm excited for that. And Lucille's never been out to Arizona, so this is going to be a treat for her.
She was in utero. She
Well,
was there.
yeah, you never mind. I'm the only jackass
w-
in this family who hasn't been to Arizona.
I was rocking a bikini with a big old belly, and I never felt sexier. It was awesome.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, so she's going to get a chance to explore out of the uterus and check out a new area and spend some time with Gampy. But then, we have another, dear friend that we haven't seen in quite some time down in Florida. And who the hell doesn't want to go to Florida in April and
Right.
post spring break when it's not crazy? So we're going to head down there in April. So we booked these 2 trips. In March, we're going to see my folks and, do kind of like a late Christmas gift that we're going to do, have a, big dinner with my whole family. And, it's just kind of exciting to be able to map out the year. And then in June, we've had a trip planned for quite some time where we're going to North Carolina, going to the beaches with your family. So like, it is all about connection, whether it's folks that we, see often or not often, but it's made travel planning really, really easy this year.
Yeah, and writing that shit down. I don't know if you use your planner to write travel things in or how you organize yours. I'm curious to find out, but just writing it down and mapping it out in my journal, just like seeing the year and like seeing where we're going in January, where we're going in February, or who we're hosting. So it's like an ebb and flow with like leaving home and then hosting at home. I guess that's the advantage of being in an area that feels like a vacation. It's like we get to save money and actually connect with people in an area that feels like a vacation, even though we're really in our new hometown, which is kind of like really awesome. But it's really liberating to think of a theme, and then I almost did a brain dump of like where are all the places we want to go, and then who lives there, and it's a very, I don't know, it makes the process a little bit easier when you're like writing it down and like mapping out, so it's not so scatterbrained in my head and like trying to use my Google Calendar and like switching and scrolling. So there's something to say about just like writing it down too, and like doing a brain dump of like, all right, what are all the places I want to go this year, and then crossing off places as you decide what your theme is. Or so yeah,
I mean, and that's a good way to kind of determine like, what our costs going to be for the year, because you can tell if you're going to be going out to the West Coast a lot, or you're going from coast to coast, that's going to be a lot more money. And then do you know somebody there who has a car, or else, you're going to be out there spending money on a rental cars. There's a lot of things that you can just visualize by writing those things down without even like getting into the whole dollars and cents. You can almost eliminate certain cities or certain areas and then add other areas and be like, okay, well, we might not be able to go to the West Coast 2 times this year, but maybe we can find a shorter trip that we can drive this year. Or if we have to take a flight, obviously driving is a lot easier with a toddler, just because the car seat situation when you have to rent a car, or, in the case of going out to Arizona, we're going to be able to use your dad's car, but we need a car seat for Lucille. So we actually just ordered one and having it sent to his house. Those are some of those things that's just like, yeah, how are we going to do that? I mean, of course we could take the car seat on the plane and check that in the baggage, but I don't want them tossing that thing around and, have this $200 car seat be broken by the time we get there and can't even use it. So,
well, you know what? We could totally take the car seat we bought that was like $90 in Arizona and take it back home with us and use it if we have to go to Oregon.
Yeah.
So it's like something that it's only $90. It's a lot smaller.
Yeah. No, that's that and that makes a heck of a lot more sense. I thought about that too. So, that might become our travel car seat. So,
yeah. And I never thought, the theme of connection actually being cost saving as well, because we know people are there, they're picking us up from the airport,
right?
We may be staying with them, like there's a lot less overhead costs to worry about. So it's kind of worked out budget friendly too. Like the theme of connection is a lot more budget friendly for us, and it makes flying more accessible with the price wise, because we're saving money in other areas like in rental car and Airbnbs. So yeah, it's pretty exciting how that's kind of helped lessen our finances with travel as well, but still get a lot of good connection exploring time.
Yeah.
So I'm really stoked.
And the other thing is, I alluded to this a little bit earlier, is the ability to work from anywhere when you're a remote worker. And one of the things in the past that I would usually kind of dwell on when it came to travel planning is, do I really want to use my PTO for this? Should I use my PTO? I really like having some PTO around Christmas time or around the holidays, just so that I can, take that time off and be with family. And what the new working situation has led to, and with remote work, is that I don't have to take as much PTO when we go on vacation. I can actually work from wherever it is that we're at. So while we're out in Arizona, I'm taking a couple of days off for PTO to actually enjoy the area. But I'm going to work an entire work week while I'm out there and still get to enjoy it. And the nice thing is it's in a different time zone. I think it's 3 hours different. So I can get up really early, start work at 6 a.m., be done by 2:30, 3 o'clock, and still enjoy late afternoon, evening time in Arizona. So like, I'm psyched for this. I really want to just show people that, it's possible to take extended vacations. It's possible to, work from anywhere and still be part of your team or whatever at work. So like, it's just really awesome. I'm like really looking forward to being able to do this and kind of document that and talk about it.
Totally. I'm sure we'll learn a lot of lessons. Well, you will, because my work is Lucille. So,
Oh, Lucille.
We're just world learning here. We're just going to be learning in Arizona about the culture and the cacti and the quails at Quail Creek.
Freaking quails. I don't even know what the fuck a quail is.
What is that from?
That's from, what is that movie? Wedding Crashers.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. I think that's all I got on like simplifying our travel plans.
Yeah, I mean, this one is pretty straightforward, and we are looking forward to kind of planning out the second half of this year, as we said, as travel costs hopefully come down. Who knows? I mean, things could get more expensive. We are in inflation right now, and the prices of everything seem to be going up. But we will keep it within budget, and we have a lot, like we said at the beginning, we have a lot of making up we have to do from the past travel plans that have been canceled, but we are looking forward to it, and it should be an awesome adventure, and we will report on it as always.
And if you are somewhere that you would like, it would be so cool if we could connect in real life, please reach out.
Hell yeah.
We love connecting with people in our podcast community in real life. And I know
we've done it before. We're not creepers. And
I swear.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, so definitely reach out to us. I know a couple of our listeners did reach out. They're like, we travel a lot too. I'll let you know if we're in an area. So we'll keep you guys posted as well if we're going to be in an area in a certain month, and see if we can, get some human connection with this community. Right. That would be really, really rad.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Jilly, do you got any resources for our listeners today?
I do. I found a blog post that was from nomadicmat.com, and it's how to travel with a theme. I was so glad when I found this.
That is the theme of this episode, so let's theme it with the resource.
Okay. I'm just going to read some excerpts from it, and if you want to check it out, get over there. We'll put it in the show notes. I needed to spice up my travels again, so I had an idea. What if I traveled with a theme? Instead of just trying to see the usual well-known sites, what if I went with a specific focus in mind? It's easy to develop a routine when you travel constantly. Like everything else, you fall into a certain complacency. You know what you like and develop a rhythm. You land, check into your accommodation, and make your way down your list. So from now on, instead of just going to places and ticking off the list of typical things to see and do, go with a purpose. If you're in a destination for the first time, of course, by all means, see all the main sites and attractions, but try to add a little theme to your trip that forces you off the beaten path towards some different or unusual attractions, sites, and events. What if you only hiked trails that begin with the letter M? Or went to learn about a destination's wine industry? Or decided I'd only eat at Japanese restaurants with a local food expert? Really, it could be anything, as long as it's hyper-focused. My travels around one idea that forced me to look at a destination in a different light. And he also had in there about how he went to Paris with the theme of what's the name of that movie with Owen Wilson?
Midnight in Paris.
Yes. How he wanted to see and go to all the sites where he went. So that's what he did when he was in Paris, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was so rad that I'm
more of a Moulin Rouge kind of guy.
Boo. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was really cool how he had some different ideas, like using the alphabet letter to like help destinations. So I thought that was really rad to kind of help simplify the travel process.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Good resource, Jilly.
Thank you, sir.
And how about that quote of the day?
The quote of the day is by the magnificent Tony Robbins.
Hey, Tony. What's going on?
All decision making is a values clarifying exercise.
It is.
I feel like connection is also one of our huge values.
Very big.
So we just kind of integrated travel, one value, with connection, another value. So.
Boom. Value squared.
God, nerd.
I know. And your take action challenge is?
Use themes or a focus to simplify decision making with anything.
Hell yeah. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation, conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.